Good morning, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Hey guys, I'm doing a vintage video repair for a customer, and been finding a lot of problems with this machine. This is a Panasonic VO 9600 or SVO 9600. It's a S-vhs machine, and I've come across a lot of these machines in the past, and I wanted to show you guys a little bit about how to troubleshoot one of these machines when you run into these problems. But anyways, we had the thing working for a little while, and all of a sudden the machine shut down and it would not take a tape. Loading mechanism wouldn't take the tape in at all. No power. The power meters wouldn't light up. The control panel, on the control panel there was no function whatsoever. No eject, no nothing. And usually, when you have an issue like that, it's usually because of age or something like that. But let me just tell you a real easy way of troubleshooting a problem when you start having a VTR problem where it won't take the tape at all, and you got no control over the functions of the front panel, or there's no motor functions whatsoever for it to load. On these machines, you got what's called a onboard systems card, and it's most VCRs normally it's located at the very bottom of the machine, like this one is. Okay, this is the systems card that runs this unit. Now, I was doing some troubleshooting, and I suspected something, which I was absolutely right. And if I'm correct on this, it's going to make this a very easy repair. I haven't started it yet, but anyways, this is your systems card. It runs your fast forward, you rewind, you load, your servo functions, all kinds of the mechanism functions runs from your systems card itself. This controls a lot of different things. Okay, it's got a processor on it and various different functions of this card. Okay, well, this particular unit wouldn't load. All of a sudden, it just played and then it stopped, and nothing will function. It won't load, won't take a tape in, won't do anything. It's acting like it's got no power, right? Well, your first thing you want to look at is your systems card on the VTR you're working on. All right. Some situations, you'll be able to troubleshoot it pretty quickly. There'll be situations you can look around on the board trying to suspect there might be a problem, and you might be able to troubleshoot it with a multimeter. Okay. I have a junk machine sitting over there. It's the same machine, and I was checking something out. And anyways, on this particular machine, you got what's called, and generally, when you have a machine like this, either your power supply will be something wrong with it or whatever, and it's not powering all the boards, and you would have a bad power supply. Or generally, there's an inline fuse from the power supply that you could check if you're not getting any power. But in this situation, there is power, but it's not coming from the mechanisms itself. It's powering up the unit, but it's coming into an error code now where it shouldn't be doing that. So it's not the power supply, it's not the fuses, but these are the first things you would check, just to double check, because sometimes these power supplies have a couple fuses that's inside of them. So you want to take the metal housings off so you can double check the fuses, to double check to make sure it's not a fuse in there. But I did all that, so it's not the power supply, it's not the inline fuses. And so anyways, you look around, you're thinking, all right, then what the hell? What could it be? And generally, when there's no power, it generally would be a simple thing like a blown out fuse. Well, on this particular systems card, all right, if you know what to look for, and I know a lot of people don't work on electronics, so I don't expect you to understand this, but I'll try to show you something. It's real simple. And most of these systems cards, you'll see it'll have a marking, usually on the left or the right of the board, or sometimes on the side. See how it says fuses 1, fuses 2, all right, 1 and 2, 3.15 amps by 125 volts, right? And normally you'd be looking for those glass fuses, those little tubes, right? All right, on modern electronics, they got around and away from those. They don't really use the glass tubes on the, fuses on the boards anymore. They use these things that look like some type of a component. If you look here, see how it says 3.15 amp, and then you got another one right there, which is also a 3.15 amp. Well, I just checked these. This one has good continuity, meaning it's good. But this one on the end, dead as a doornail. All right, so that means this particular fuse that runs this connection, which you can see is probably one of the vital connections off of the board from the systems card to probably the VTR mechanisms or whatever to get everything moving. And plus, you got to understand you got your drive motor in here and your loading motor for your VTR carriage, which is here. All comes off this card. This processor runs everything that the VTR does. It runs the entire system. This is what controls it. All right. So, you know, it's a pretty easy indicator if you figure you got your loading carriage, which is the wire here that loads your VCR. This is the motor that runs the mechanism underneath down there. If you can see that mechanism that pulls the tape around the VTR mechanism itself. And but anyways, everything is controlled through this bias type of board. It's called a systems card, and almost all VTR and broadcast decks have a systems card. Sometimes on the broadcast decks, it's a card. It's one that plugs in and plugs out. Okay, and since this is a pluggable type of unit, and I have a spare unit, I've been troubleshooting the problem, and my conclusion is we got a bad fuse that's causing this. This would cause the system not to power up on other functions, which is what it's doing, but it does power up, but it just doesn't accept the tape, and the system that would run the loading and engaging all of a sudden stops. So my best guess is it's going to be this fuse on this board. Yes, guys, sometimes you can figure it out, sometimes you can't. But these are fuses. You may not think they are, but they are. But when you look next to it, you'll see adjacent where it says fuse 1, 2 at 3.5. So right away you can identify that these two are the fuses they're talking about. So you want to check them with a multimeter. You put it in tone. If you put it in tone, you'll get a tone on there. And if you don't get a tone, that means the fuse is shorted. And if you get nothing at all, zeros, that means the fuse is shorted also. So we're working on this S-vhs deck for a customer. And like I said, this was a pretty problematic deck in its day, but looks like we got a popped fuse. But this one is good, so I can cannibalize that fuse and remove that one. These are special fuses. You know, you can't just get these. I'll take this fuse off this board because I know it's good, and we'll pop it in the bad spot on this board, and we'll see what happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.